Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a great Monday so far. While you're here, you know what I'm going to say. Go ahead and show your girl some love by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe. If you have not noticed, I have a plain background, y'all. I am in the process of moving, like I told y'all before. So I'm just taking everything down, getting everything prepared. Just so busy, y'all. So busy this month. But anyway, so this month you will see a plain background, and that's the reason why, until I can get moved and situated and see where I'm even going to set up when I get to my new place. Speaking of that though, I will be vlogging the entire moving process on my personal channel. If you guys did not know, this has been a whole journey for me of like life after divorce and just like moving on with my life, finding love again. It's just a big spiritual journey. That's why I speak to you guys about spiritual journeys all the time and your spiritual health, because it is essential for you to have, in my opinion, spiritual health and God's help in order to like properly move on with your life. So that whole journey is part of my process, and this is going to be documented on my personal channel, which will be linked in the comments below. I have story time, life after divorce vlogs. I have how I manifested my person now, just all of those things on my personal channel. Plus, y'all know I post remote jobs weekly. So if you're looking for remote work, or you know someone looking for remote work, feel free to go to my personal channel, which will be linked in the comments below. I just posted today 5 more jobs that are hiring remotely for the week. Okay, so let's get into today's video. Now, trigger warning, okay? Those who are like sensitive to certain spiritual practices and stuff, this may or may not be the video for you, but I'm assuming if you clicked on the video, you already know what this is about because it is in the thumbnail. We are going to be talking about how people put real deal witchcraft on other people, y'all. Like, this is real. Okay, this is real out here. And we're going to be hearing some story times about it. These are very good and interesting story times. And it's important, as I say always, to work on our spiritual health and our awareness and all of that. So I want you guys to go ahead and watch the story times. I'm going to be back at the end with my commentary.
Here's my story on why I do not play with witchcraft. So when I was about 22, 23 years old, my then best friend at the time, grandmother, used to do work. She wasn't your average grandma, you know, with the moo. No, she was turned. She smoked weed. She drank. She hung out. She could dress. She was that type of grandma. But she did work. She would do things like she would put your name in the freezer when she wanted you to stop doing something. She didn't put it in a bag of water like I be hearing other people say. No, she put your name straight in the freezer, and whatever she focused on that she wanted you to stop doing, you would stop doing. She would also do things like the jar, but she didn't do like honey jars. She would do a simple jar, and she have you write their name down and you put their name in a jar of water and hide it in the house, and the person would not go nowhere. She did stuff like that. And the crazy thing about it, we saw it work. Me and her granddaughter, my best friend at the time, we saw it work. Whatever she said, it worked. So around that time, you know, we young, we had little boyfriends that was cutting up or whatever. So we call ourselves wanting to get our boyfriends in line. So she told us this simple one, to write their name down. If we don't hear from them and we want to hear from them, write their name down, put it under the pillow and sleep on it. And you would hear from them. And I promise you, I used to do it. And at the time, I wouldn't hear from my baby daddy for weeks. I would put his name, write his whole name down, sleep on it. The next morning before 9 a.m., he would call me. So all her stuff worked. But this is where it went wrong. It was this one spell that she had me do because at the time, my twin's father was cutting up real bad. I was in love with him, and I wanted him to stay home and stop cheating on me. She told me to write his name down and put it in a jar and put it in some water and hide it in the house, and he wouldn't go nowhere. I'm like, how this gonna work? Because not only was my baby daddy unfaithful, just wilding, he young, we didn't even live together. But I was in love and my baby daddy was cheating, and I wanted him to be with me. So I did what she told me to do. I wrote his name down, his whole name, put it in a jar of water, hid it in the house. Y'all, like a month and a half later, guess what happened? He gets arrested. They lock him up. He don't get no bond. It's a serious charge. And when they finally give him a bond, they let him go under the conditions of him being on house arrest. Y'all, the spell said he would never leave the house. The man was on house arrest and he got released to my house, my address. So y'all, once he gets released to my address, we have the best relationship ever. We getting along, we in love. He's never been this nice to me. I'm so freaking happy. Till one day, y'all, I'm out shopping with my sister and he at the house. Remember, he on house arrest. I get back from shopping with my sister, y'all. Why the jar sitting on my coffee table? And he just sitting there. Y'all, he found the jar. He said real calm, yo, what my name doing in that jar? I was like, I ain't know what to say. I was like, I don't know. He was like, hey, yo, get my name out that jar. I was like, throw it away. He said, I'm not touching that jar. Get my name out that jar. Instantly, the spell broke. Instantly. My world got turned upside down. Do y'all hear me? As soon as the spell broke, somehow the conditions of his bond got to the point where he could leave and go certain places, and then he eventually got off house arrest. He left my house. He started back cheating double time to the part where he just moved and just wasn't, like, it was almost like he hated me. Y'all, that spell backfired so bad. I remember one night I went looking for him, and I hate to admit this, but I went looking for this man. And I remember I didn't have on no shoes, and it was in the middle of November. I went looking for him with no shoes on in the middle of November. I don't even know why I didn't have on no shoes. Y'all better stop playing with people's free will. To this day, me and that man don't get along. Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff that happened after that. I could talk for hours. But to this day, me and that man do not get along. Stop playing with people's free will. If they want to be with you, they gonna be with you. Because when it comes back times 3. When I tell y'all I lost everything, I lost financially, I lost mentally. I started smoking weed around that time. I wasn't even a weed smoker. I lost. And I'm still not with the nigga. Stop playing around with that stuff. You cannot force nobody to be with you.
So let's do a story time about the time I found out someone I was dealing with, their ex put a curse on him and I. She wanted me. So this was a few years ago. I was dealing with someone, and the relationship was really rocky. And what is up with us women, well, not all of us, but some of us, when we become very desperate with relationships or situationships, we always try to seek out psychic, services. So I was telling my friend about what was going on or whatever, and she suggested for me to go with her to this woman, some Puerto Rican lady in Queens. So I was already a little bit skeptical, because I feel as if, psychics are probably going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then based on your answer is what they would say, was going on. Just kind of like getting their answers from you by asking you a bunch of questions. So we went and took the long trip to Queens. We get to the woman's house. It's a house. And we walk into the living room. It's not a bunch of people, but a few people waiting in the living room. Okay, cool. After waiting a while, it is finally my turn to go speak with the woman. So I go to some outside patio area. It's closed off. She's sitting there. She has a fish bowl full of water, and she just starts talking. She doesn't ask me my name. She doesn't ask me for my birthday. She doesn't ask me for his name. She doesn't ask me, oh, tell me about how long have you guys, nothing. She just sits there and starts going. She described what he looks like. She's like, I'm picking up that he really loves you, but there's something that's blocking it, and I know exactly what and who is blocking it. So she proceeds to describe his ex. So, us females, we are going to be FBI agents when we're dealing with someone. And I did come across her Facebook page, and I knew what she looked like. And at that time, she had this Dora the Explorer wig going on. So it was really, really, really scary to me that this woman sat here. I've never seen this woman in my life. And she was not a paid actress by my friend. She sat there in the chair across from me and did like this bang, bob. What? So then she proceeds to tell me that the girl hates me. And she also did start to say, like, is the person you're dealing with, is their hair falling out? Which was really, really strange because his hair was actually falling out, which was so scary. And just out of nowhere, like, this guy had, head full of hair, no issues. But then all of a sudden, one day he went to the barber and the barber is like, you have these bald spots in the back of your head, just out of nowhere. And the woman told me, the girl, the ex, is the one who made that happen. The ex, not trying to be, whatever, but she was Caribbean. And I do feel like a lot of Caribbeans dabble, especially the women, they dabble in that stuff whenever it comes to a man. Period, point blank. So she proceeds to say, talk about other things that was happening during that time with him. Even like when I would look in his eyes, it would be like there's someone, like something is not right that's going on there. And a lot of the things that he was doing wasn't making any sense too much. So basically she did say that the girl put a curse on him and I, and that she wants me dead, and that basically she took a photo of me from social media and has like a whole entire shrine dedicated to me, and just basically kind of wanting me to die. She also says that she sees this other person that's involved with this as well. They're not connected, but it's connected to me. So prior to the person I was dealing with, years before that, I was dating this Puerto Rican guy, and he did dabble in Santeria, which I didn't really think too much of it at the time. But I know there was this chain that I had that he wanted so bad, and I gave it to him. I don't know why I would do that. That was so stupid. But I was a teenager, so it was whatever. I've been to his house. Like, in his house, he would have, in his house, there were, little shrines in, the corners and, over the door and everything with people's pictures and stuff. Right then and there. We would be talking on the phone, and he would be, chickens while we were talking on the phone. Preparing for stuff. It was just, crazy. And he had, a whole tattoo on his arm dedicated to the Orisha that he, that his parent Orisha and stuff like that. Mind you, we're, 16. So yeah. So she proceeds to tell me, there's another thing, a reason why, you're dealing with this, this kind of, opposition when it comes to love and relationships. And she's like, you're someone that you're dealing with. I see a guy, he's dressed in all white. And that's something that, Santeria people do, I guess, the first couple of years or whatever the situation is. They have to dress in all white for, a whole year or something like that. And she's like, basically, you broke his heart. And he did something to you where he put something on your love life that any guy after him is going to basically treat you like shit. So I know I was pissed. I was upset after this whole session and everything. And I did contact the person on social media. And I'm like, you need to reverse whatever you got going on. That's really, really messed up for you to do. Of course, he denied it. And of course, I told my mom what happened. And of course, she called my Nigerian godmother to come immediately to the house and do a whole, exorcism over me or something. So, the moral of the story is just be mindful who you deal with. I mean, I know you cannot control or control things that you can't foresee or things like that, but if a guy has a history of dealing with a lot of women, please best believe it's not just about the sexual demons that they are taking on when they're having sex with these women and stuff like that, but just be mindful and be protected of yourself and prayed up, because people out here are dabbling in witchcraft and it is ridiculous at this point. Even guys are dabbling into witchcraft. Not even just the women anymore. Oh yeah, and I meant to also add, what made it also very spooky when she was talking about my ex the Puerto Rican guy, when she was saying, describing him all white and, the things that he was doing, trying to destroy me as far as when it comes to my love life. While she was talking, I kid you not, while this woman was talking, she was coughing and her voice changed. She was like, they do not want me to let you know what's going on. That, God. So let's do a story time about the time I found out.
So I've done this story time before, but I'm going to go ahead and run it back again because it's been a few years. So this is the story about how my friend did witchcraft on me to try to stop me from getting married. So let's jump in. Let me give a little bit of backstory as to how I know this friend. Back in 2019, we were in a women's ministry group chat together called Vessels of Glory. There were a lot of us that were in that group chat, and some of you guys are going to see this video and you're going to remember how chaotic and problematic that group chat was, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, I ended up branching off, starting my own women's ministry because that one was toxic, and that one had a good year and a half run or whatever. So this girl that, did the witchcraft on me, whatever, she was part of the group. So 2020, we were still in communication and everything outside of the group, but then we didn't talk for some years. Then towards the end of 2022, we pretty much got back in contact. So we were texting and talking on the phone practically every day. And during this period of my life, I wasn't really talking to anybody. I was not on social media. I had gone on a 2-month hiatus. So nobody knew my movements at all. I wasn't talking to nobody. Nobody knew nothing unless you were my immediate family. I was kind of going through some things at that time, and so she was one of the people that I was confiding in. However, I started to notice very, very strange things were happening as I would talk to her. Before I tell you the strange things, let me preface this by saying I'm a dreamer. So that's the prophetic gift that I have. God reveals a lot of things to me by dreams, and a lot of the times, however I dream it is however it happens. So there was one night that I had a dream that I was being chased by cats, and a cat had jumped out of the tree and chased me into my parents' house, and it was 2 cats. I remember very vividly that one of the cats was an orangish color, and I just remember the cat tried to attack me, but I woke up. So I think a night or 2 after I had this dream, I was going somewhere. So I went out into the parking garage and went to go and get in my car, and the same exact cat that I saw in the dream was sitting perched up right next to my car. And all at the same time, I was on the phone with this friend as this happened, and she knew about the dream as well. So a few weeks after that, she had asked me for my address because we have the same birthday, and she wanted to send something to me, right? And during this time frame, I'm getting ready to move into my next apartment and all that. And like I said, nobody knew my movements. And I remember her asking how long I was going to be out of town and when I was coming back, all that good stuff. So the night before I left Dallas to go back to Houston, I had a dream that somebody had stolen my stuff. And the stuff in question was my watches and things like that. And the whole dream was just really, really, really weird. And I remember waking up and telling my sister about it. And I was like, girl, I don't know what the heck is going on, but this dream is weird. So the morning that I'm driving back to Houston, I don't know why, but I said to myself, it's really good that I have homeowners insurance or renter's insurance just in case somebody tries to steal my stuff. Little did I know that 2 hours later, I was going to walk up and see that my apartment had been broken into and everything had been scattered. Those watches that I had dreamt about in my dream were placed in a makeup bag as if the person was going to take it and run, but they never did. So as I'm telling this friend all this stuff, she just kept telling me, oh, that's witchcraft, that's witchcraft, that's witchcraft. And I was like, But something in me was like, why do you know that is witchcraft? So fast forward from there, a few weeks later, I decided to do a fasting. And the fasting was for people that were looking to get married and all that stuff. So she was part of the fasting. So at the end of the fasting, I remember her saying, oh, I can't wait for us to plan our weddings together. And for whatever reason, my ears were just kind of like, who's planning a wedding with you? I'm not planning a wedding with nobody. And I just found that to be really strange. So I think a day or 2 after that fasting, I had a dream that I had a Bible and a dog came and took the Bible from me. And it was so strange because I never dream about like my Bible like that. And then the simple fact that an animal tried to take my Bible from me was really, really weird. So something in me just kept saying, there's something off about this girl, there's something off about this girl, there's something off about this girl. So my mom's pastor ended up calling me maybe a day or two later, and he pretty much told me that somebody that I was friends with was doing witchcraft on me. And I said, wow. In my very before. He now went on to say that her intention of doing the witchcraft was to hinder me from ever getting married. And I knew that everything that he was saying was the truth because I had already had like a revelation of it. But it was like he was the confirmation of that. So after that, I was pretty much having dreams that, you know, I wasn't going to get married, that I was just going to keep having failed relationships and stuff like that. It was like a whole season of me dealing with this stuff. But I cut the girl off. Like, I didn't even bat an eyelash, deleted her number, blocked her on everything. Like, done. Mind you, she's kind of a big content creator on here, so you've probably seen her on your For You page here and there. But yeah, I had to do like a lot of praying and all that to detach myself from whatever it was that she was trying to do. And that's pretty much the story about the time that my friend did witchcraft on me to try to stop me from ever getting married.
Okay, so how I found out someone put Juju on me. Juju, roots, voodoo, hoodoo, curse, spell, whatever. Just for some insight, I was pregnant during this time, and I actually was pregnant by someone who got me pregnant that did not want me to be pregnant. But as you can see, I had kept a kid. So there's that. It started off, I would say, my pregnancy was full of turmoil. But it got really eerie towards like month 3 or 4. And at this point, my face was, to me, unrecognizable. I've never had acne in my life. I've never struggled with acne. And this was beyond pregnancy acne. It started off on my forehead, and then it was my cheeks, and these weren't just like bumps, y'all, like pimples. These were like cysts, like painful, like if you touch them you'll get a headache type of bumps all over my face. I was unrecognizable to myself. So that was number one. That was the first thing. It was like, this is crazy. Number two was, there was this cat. It was this black cat that would come sit on my front porch in front of my door. Not just on my porch, in front of my door. Every night after 12 a.m. And I watched this cat for about a month before I decided to say, I'm finna find this damn cat while the sun is up. Why don't I ever see this cat when the sun is up? Where do this cat be? Then I'm like, you know, hey, maybe somebody's feeding the cat, you know, and it just likes my front porch. It doesn't like theirs. It'll go to their house to eat and come to mine to just parlay. Because this cat wasn't sleeping. This cat was awake. It would just sit there like crazy. That was the second thing. I could never find this cat, by the way. Still to this day, I've never seen this cat in the daylight. I actually did not see this cat at all. Have not seen this cat at all since I found out about what was going on with me spiritually. The third thing was about At about 5 months, I started having these dreams, right? I'm a dreamer though. So I'm the type of person that if I close my eyes for 10 minutes, I'm going to have a dream. That's just me. I've always been that way since I can remember. And I always remember my dreams in detail. That's just me too. These specific dreams were of me having sex though. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm sexually frustrated. Haven't had sex in over a year at this point. And so I'm like, maybe that's what it is. But they were reoccurring consistently. Every night I'm having sex in a dream. And then the sex became like dark sex, like what are they, like tantric sex. And I could never put a face on this person or thing that I'm having sex with. It was faceless up until one night or one day. I seen it, and it was like, it was a demon. It was a creature that I was having sex with. And so that was odd. And then also I was having dreams about food I was eating in dreams. I wasn't missing a meal though while I was up. So it wasn't that I was hungry, but I was having dreams that someone would be feeding me, giving me food. I would be, being fed basically. And I later found out that having sex and eating, or especially being fed in a dream, is demonic. So that was that. And then one day I was babysitting. I had my nephews and we went to the grocery store. I was gonna cook. And I'll never forget this. I walked into this store and I seen this elderly lady, and she was kind of like slumped over. And I remember thinking to myself, damn, I don't want to be in that condition, in my elder years. Like, I don't want to live like that. And it wasn't more than like 2 or 3 minutes later, my mind just went blank. I couldn't even remember what I was there for, to get. Why am I at the grocery store? And so once I came to, like, okay, I know what I'm here for, I began to feel faint. So at first I'm like, okay, I'm pregnant. I'm not super pregnant, but I'm pregnant. That could be what it is. But it didn't. It got worse. It became heightened. So I'm trying to continue on because, like I said, I got my nephews with me. And we make it to the produce section. And I began to collapse. I could feel myself collapsing. And I was also physically collapsing. By this time, I'm hands and knees on the floor of this grocery store. And my nephew's having a ball. They having a fruit fight at this point. A literal fruit fight. Watermelon on the floor, busted, bananas, grapes. They having a ball. I'm crawling. There was like this seating area. So I make my way to this seating area. And this lady was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But she was kind of looking like, nah, you're not good. And there was this refrigerator where they had some beverages. And I just grabbed one. I think I grabbed like a coconut water, and I opened that motherfucker and just chugged it. But it still wasn't getting better. So I finally got the strength to call my sister, because when it first began, I couldn't speak. I couldn't say like, hey, help. It was like I was damn near paralyzed. So I called my sister and I tell her, you got to come get us. And so at this point, I'm trembling and I'm crying uncontrollably. I don't even know why I'm crying. She asking me, are you okay? Are y'all okay? Where y'all at? Why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know what's happening to me right now. And so she ended up coming to get me. We make it out of that situation. And made it at the grocery store, and I threw up. I threw up for the first time in my pregnancy. The next thing was I would have money and it would just disappear. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm losing money physically, but I would have money and it damn near felt like it because I had stopped shopping for myself, let go of my shopping habits. I wasn't wearing weave during my pregnancy. I wasn't wearing makeup because my skin was so messed up. So I wasn't buying anything. I'm like, where's my money going? And I could not, for the life of me, pinpoint where my money is going. What is happening to my money? It's just disappearing. The straw that broke the camel's back, though, was my belongings. Shoes specifically started disappearing. I got like a shoe fetish, sneaker fetish, but for only like not regular shoes. So a pair of them disappeared. Of these not regular shoes that were $800 disappeared. And that was when I said, okay, all right.
Okay, so now that y'all seen the story times, let's talk about it. You know, I'm not going to make this very long. I don't even have my notes or anything like that because I don't feel like it was necessary. I will say before I get started, y'all, please keep in mind, just like I said in my last videos, everybody does not share your religious beliefs, share your same religious beliefs, share your same spiritual practices, etc. So let's just not be any type of spiritual bullies. There is a such thing as spiritual abuse. So please don't try to degrade anybody who was talking on this video, like the content creators or anybody in the comments or anything like that. Let's just keep it respectful. If it's not something that's positive to uplift somebody else, please do not put it in my comments, because if you are deemed as somebody who's doing that, I probably will remove you from the comments because I don't want that on my page. We are just simply here for spiritual awareness because y'all know I'm huge on spiritual awareness. So first thing first, like I always say, y'all spiritual health is very important. I'm not sure why so many people think that everything else is important besides their spiritual health. Yes, your physical health is important. Yes, your mental health is important. Yes, your financial health is important. All of that is important, but people for some reason neglect when it comes to their spiritual health, and then they wonder why they go through all this turmoil or why they have this like different bad situations and people and experience all these things, and they don't realize it's because your spiritual health is lacking. Like, we are constantly around low vibrational people and low vibrational things. Even the news, the media, TV shows, music, all of that will mess with your psyche and it will mess with your vibrational levels. Okay, it's your job to revamp yourself up. Just like your phone gets dead and you have to charge it, you don't think that your spirit dies and you need to charge your spirit sometime. If you are constantly listening to bad music, eating bad food, watching bad TV, around bad people, you don't think your spirit is like drained out. You have to cleanse your spirit. So I've spoke about this before. The ways to do that is going on fast. Ways to do that is like praying more, meditating more. If you have certain religious beliefs that you follow, you know, go do that and practice that more and get with the leader who does that. Like, I know Muslims, they pray multiple times throughout the day and they have leaders that they like talk to or condoning, and you know, different religious beliefs do different things. So it's like you have to build your own spiritual journey with whatever works for you. Okay, just make sure you have spiritual awareness because it's important for you to see your spirit guides. The spiritual world is around us, whether people believe it or not. Like, it has already been, you know, confirmed that there are entities that exist besides humans. Okay, and I personally feel like a lot of them are part of the spiritual world. I personally feel like some of us can tap into that and see that. Like, I know I have before. So, you know, and I also feel like dreams are part of that as well. Some people have dreams about things and they happen, or they have happened or something like that, and they still cannot explain the science behind dreams. So it's just certain things that are supernatural that, you know, science cannot come in alignment with, you know. So that's the spiritual part of you, and it's important for you to tap into the spiritual world as much as you can, not only to protect you but to protect your children. Like, you know how many mothers and fathers have saved their children because they spiritually tapped in. Now, I will say that they say that the woman is the key component to the spiritual world. They say the woman protects the family spiritually and the man protects the family physically, and I believe that. But it is your job to protect your family, make sure you guys are protected. Like, so you need to make sure that you are tapping in as much as you can. If you get a feeling like your child's like, I'm about to go here, here, and there, and you get a feeling like, that's not right, don't let her go there, then don't let her go there. That's your spirituality tapping in. But sometimes you can't hear that voice if it's filtered too much, if you have too much toxins in your spirit. You know what I mean? You got to practice that. It's important to practice that. That's why every new calendar year I go on a fast. Every new calendar year, because I'm like, I need to hear, I need to see. And that's what has been the hugest transitions in my life after going on a fast, because I start seeing things I never seen before. Like, dang, I need to do this, or dang, I need to do that, or dang, I need to remove this person. Like, it's important to go on fast regularly, in my opinion, but you also can tap in other ways. You can do spiritual baths, it's just all kind of stuff you can do. Just make sure that your spiritual health is a priority, because it can really help you and your family and save your lives from things that you might not even recognize or realize. So let me know what y'all think. Has anything ever happened like this to you? I can't say that I have ever caught somebody doing something like this to me, but I do have a feeling that people have tried just because of certain things that was left in my house and intuitive feelings and stuff. So like, I definitely have a feeling that people tried to, but my spirit guides is on lock, honey. Like I've seen my spirit guides before, baby, and they be on lock. Like, they be on lock. So another thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned as well is that also notice that when it came to the girl who was talking about it was within her own church group with her quote unquote friend. Like, I just find it crazy that people even who are in certain religious communities do this to each other. Okay, so don't let somebody who looks polished and look a certain way on the outside deceive you from what they really are on the inside. Again, that's why it's so important to have this spiritual awareness, so you can see a wolf in sheep's clothing. But yeah, y'all let me know y'all stories in the comments below. And if you have any type of education on anything that went on in this video that you want to explain more in depth, like, feel free to do that. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all on the next one.